And now, it's time for another Dice Tower review with Tom Vasel.
Tokaido by Antoine Bauza, and he's one of my favorite designers. I love ghost stories, and I've always enjoyed his games. They have this very thematic flavor, and in this one here, you are beginning a journey from coast to coast. I mean, this is certainly a box cover, probably not like many games you've seen. It's a very beautiful, evocative game. You know, I should be talking about this. Let's take a look at it. Here you can see we have the long board. The board is a very long board because what you're doing is you're taking a pilgrim, you're making a journey. And the way this game works essentially is each turn of the game, it's the person who is the very farthest behind. They're the slowest, the last pilgrim, and that person can move as far ahead as they want to go to any empty space. As long as there's no one else in space, they can move ahead. And that's great. You know, you can go anywhere you want, but if you move super far ahead, it will be a while before you go because it's always the last person who goes. Some of the spots have spaces for 2 people. You can see a lot of these have spaces for 2 people. That's used in a 5 or 6 player game where the board will be more crowded. Now, at the beginning of the game, each player is going to get a pilgrim. They're going to draw 2 of them randomly, and you pick which one you want. Each of them shows how much Goku you start with and a special ability you might have. You put your color token there to show everybody that that's your color, and you will start the game. As I said, the gameplay is easy. You move and take cards based on where you go. Each spot you go to, something different happens. For example, if you stop here on this yellow spot here, which happens to be a farm, you will get 3 Goku, 3 coins. So that's a place to get money. And money is used to buy other things in the game. If you stop on this blue space, which you have a hard time seeing there we go. If you stop in the blue space, that hot springs, you'll draw a hot springs card. Those are right here, and they're worth either 3 points, or 3 points, or 3 points, or 3 points. You're wondering if there's any kind of variation here? There we go, 2 points. They're 2 or 3 points. So it's kind of a very safe thing to do because you know how many points you're going to get. At the same time, if you stop at the antique store or the village, you can turn over one of these cards and you're able to buy it based on the price on the card. You can see this one here costs 1, while this one here also costs 1, while this one costs 2. And when you buy these things, these will be worth points depending on how big your sets are. And the sets are determined by symbols. So you want different symbols in a set. For example, I can't put those 2 together, but I can put these 2 together. 1 is worth 1, then 3, then 5, then 7. Then there's other cards you can get. These are encounter cards, and they're basically wild to get money or to draw a card from a specific stack. You're really never sure what's going to happen when you land there. Restaurants, everyone has to stop at the restaurant during the course of the game several times, and when you get to the restaurant you'll draw cards here equal to the number of players. The first person there can buy their card first, and so on and so forth. The cards there are all worth 6 points, but they have different costs. Some are worth 1, some cost 1, some cost 2, some cost 3. And you can't eat the same type of food over the course of the game. So if you don't have enough money to buy into the remaining food, you won't get 6 points, which in this game can be quite a bit. Other spots in the board will let you take a panorama card. There's panorama cards over here in different stacks. The first time you go to a panorama card, you'll take the number 1 of that type and place it in front of you. So let's say, for example, I get the 1 card, I'll turn it over, and I score 1 point. The next time I land on that same type of panorama or landscape, I'll take the 2 card, and now I score 3 points. Then the next time, I score 6 points. Not to mention I have a very pretty picture as all these cards go together. And the panorama gets even bigger for some of the other types. There's one that's size 4, and there's one that's size 5. and that's a cool concept. Also, the first person to finish each panorama over the course of the game will get a bonus card. There's also other bonus cards that you can get at the end of the game if you have the most of certain types of cards. And then finally, if you land on a temple, you can donate money to the temple spot here, as much as you want to at the end of the game. Whoever has the most by their color is going to get 10 points, then 7, then 3, etc. Most points at the end of the game is the winner. The game is over when everyone goes to the last restaurant and has some good, delicious food. I had been told by several people that they were less than impressed with this game, and so when I went into the game, I was, concerned it wasn't that great of a game. But I left the game highly enjoying it. But I say that with a caveat. This is very rarely a game that I would ever say, hey, let's play, unless I was playing with people who haven't played many games before. Because for them, this is fantastic. This is kind of like a Zen-style game. Just play. Because you're taking different cards and you're trying to get different points, but there's not a lot of super decisions. When it's your turn, you look, and you're usually not trying to move super far down the board. So you usually have 2 or 3 places that you can move to. So you move to one. You take the card. You might have a choice of which card to buy or something. You do that. Then it's in the next turn, or maybe get to go again. So there's some very interesting moments to the game, but it's, for the most part, I won't say that the game plays itself, but it doesn't make it hard for the player to do so. I call these sort of games often called gateway games, and this is like gateway game because it's not a very difficult process, and yet it's beautiful, it's neat. People like putting together those panoramas, pictures, the landscapes. People like collecting cards, and this game can really has the possibility to go over well with folks who don't play that many games, or with kids, or with teenagers and such. For die-hard gamers, I wouldn't recommend this to them at all, but I don't think that's who this game is really intended for either. The game's theme is about taking a journey. That's what the game itself is about. Artwork phenomenal, components phenomenal. Didn't expect anything less from FunForge. So, there's just it's a phenomenally good-looking game, but do realize very light. But that does not mean devoid of fun, and I think a lot of people are going to be introduced to gaming by this one.
Thanks so much for watching the Dice Tower videos. Find more great videos and reviews, as well as our top-rated audio podcast at Dicetower.com. You can also find the latest board game news at Dicetowernews.com. I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower. The Dice Tower is sponsored by Fun Again Games, the world's best game source. Fun Again Games has over 5,000 games available. Check them out at funagain.com.
Shut the door!